soaring to the other end. He's over. He dives. He's through. And Medfield upsets Rutland on an incredible...
I sure hope that guy had some flubber in his spine, because I'm pretty sure he just cracked his neck in two from falling headfirst onto a basketball court. Jesse Shade here from Awfully Good Movies on behalf of the JoBlo YouTube network. And as much as we may complain about Disney's lack of originality these days, they've always had a thing about exploiting their most beloved IPs, long before they bought up and exploited everybody else's IPs. Whether it's giving Saturday morning cartoons to their legacy cartoon characters, or turning some of their beloved live-action classics into TV movies or series. But in the case of the 1961 sci-fi comedy, The Absent-Minded Professor, Disney gave it a big-budget theatrical remake from the dream team of screenwriter John Hughes and leading man Robin Williams, playing the absent-minded professor himself, who creates a form of flying rubber that he deems to be Flubber, along with help from an AI-powered robot assistant who's like an Amazon Echo Dot that can play random clips from Disney Plus at will, and some villainous interference from Shooter McGavin out of vengeance from not getting a Happy Gilmore 2 Collector's Cup at Subway. It may not be the proudest moment for either John Hughes or Robin Williams, but it still makes you wish that neither of them had died as tragically soon as they did. So let us drive our Flubber-powered car through my 2019 review of a Disney remake that I have a newfound appreciation for after the recently awful likes of Pinocchio and Snow White, in this absent-minded episode of Awfully Good Movies. 25 years ago, Disney treated audiences to one of its most legendary animated adventures with the release of The Lion King. And in the years since, the film's legacy has continued to live on through animated TV series, Broadway musicals, and direct-to-video sequels. But now Jon Favreau is taking a break from his Happy Hogan duties to return behind the camera, as he follows up his acclaimed remake of The Jungle Book with his much-anticipated CGI reimagining of The Lion King, with all the iconic animal characters recast with some of today's hottest talent, alongside James Earl Jones reprising the role of Mufasa. But while Disney has been keen on remaking its classic animated movies nowadays, there was a time back in the 90s when the House of Mouse was more focused on remaking their classic live-action movies. And although some of these remakes went on to become more beloved than their original versions, that was not the case for Disney's 1997 remake of their classic sci-fi comedy, The Absent-Minded Professor, now under the new title of Flubber. The expectations for this remake were pretty darn high, seeing as it came from two of the biggest names in film comedy during the 80s and 90s, screenwriter John Hughes and comedian Robin Williams. With John Hughes fresh off of writing a smash hit remake of 101 Dalmatians for Disney 1 year prior, and Robin Williams finally making peace with Disney after they screwed him out of advertising royalties for his role in Aladdin. So after reprising the role of the genie for an Aladdin sequel, Robin went from blue to green to star in John Hughes' latest Disney remake, where he played an absent-minded science professor who uses his genius to create a sentient rubbery substance with the power to make cars fly, bounce people off the ground, and dance its jiggly green ass off. And although Flubber did pretty decently at the box office over Thanksgiving weekend, in spite of terrible reviews, it was not nearly as successful as John Hughes' other Disney remake. And after Mr. Hughes suffered another failure that Christmas with a Macaulay Culkin-less Home Alone sequel, which did not star the little blonde kid from Liar Liar, thank you very much, internet commenters, that's when John Hughes pretty much retired from screenwriting as well as the public eye until his tragic death in 2009. And since I vividly remember seeing this flick back in my younger years, I shall find for myself whether this less beloved Disney remake does any dishonor to the memories of the late great John Hughes or Robin Williams. I mean, this remake cannot be any more disrespectful than what Disney is doing with their Lion King remake. If you thought that Princess Jasmine song they forced into Guy Ritchie's Aladdin was bad, just wait until you hear this new song that they gave to James Earl Jones.
You need to know you can't slow with the nose. It's something keep James the path was
You're down with OBP? You know me.
But first it's time to teach you about our problem-free philosophy that will lead to a wicked hangover for the rest of your days, otherwise known as the Awfully Good Drinking Game. Take a shot or drink every time you see an explosion going off in the home of our film's lead character, Professor Philip Brainerd, played by Robin Williams, who teaches chemistry over at the nearby Medfield College. And with the college being threatened with foreclosure by its wealthy benefactor, Brainerd is working around the clock in his lab to create a new energy source which he can sell off to save the college from closing. With a little help from his personally designed robot assistants named Weber.
Thank you, Weber.
And Weebo.
Morning, Weebo.
Hi.
And the character of Weebo is notable for a number of reasons, seeing as she's an artificially intelligent flying robot, which this professor could already sell for millions of dollars in order to save his college, but whatever. Also, this robot happens to be voiced by Jodie Benson, whom Disney fans already know as the voice of Ariel in the Little Mermaid movies and Barbie in the Toy Story sequels. And to top it off, Weebo has the ability to cue up clips from old Disney cartoons and black and white movies on her display screen to accentuate her wisecracking dialogue.
Hey, I'm watching something.
Why don't you be quiet?
So Crow and Servo had better watch their asses, because this is one robot who can provide her own Mystery Science Theater. But Professor Brainerd is so preoccupied with his work that he keeps forgetting to attend his wedding to his fiancée, Sarah Reynolds, the president of the college, played by Marcia Gay Harden. And since he's missed his wedding 2 times already, Sarah warns him that she will be done with him for good if he misses out on this 3rd attempt.
Sarah and I? Oh, it's wedding. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Aren't you, honey?
It's today,
You sure?
6:30, at the Presbyterian Church on Beach Street.
I've been there.
We had our rehearsal there last night.
That's right. We did.
Okay, I'm starting to suspect that the end of the movie will reveal that Philip Brainerd was just an alter ego of Leonard Shelby from Memento. I can't wait for the scene where Robin Williams ends up killing Marcia Gay Harden with an insulin overdose.
He's been in a home ever since. He doesn't even know that his wife is dead.
And who should be planning to attend this wedding but Brainerd's former partner, Wilson Croft, played by Shooter McGavin himself, Christopher McDonald. And since Wilson has stolen ideas off of Brainerd so that he could profit off of them as a professor over at a rival university, he now plans on stealing Brainerd's fiancée from him in case he once again forgets to attend his wedding.
Why are you here?
No, to be honest, I'm here this weekend to steal your fiancée and make her my wife.
That's right, Professor. You had better stay out of his way while he steals your fiancée, or else you're going to pay.
I can make things out of clay and lay by the bay. I just may. What do you say?
When he returns home, Brainerd happens to come across a breakthrough in developing his new energy source, as he adds one final ingredient to finish off his chemical concoction.
Thank you for believing.
I'm kidding. Brainerd ends up surviving his lab explosion, but unfortunately ends up missing out on his last chance to marry his beloved fiancée. Oh great, as if this character wasn't villainous enough already, it turns out that he's also a heartless litter bug. Back at the lab, Brainerd finds out that his 2 years of hard work have finally led to the creation of a new substance, as he opens his frozen container to find a sentient blob of green goo, which has the ability to mold itself into different shapes and sizes, and can bounce itself off of surfaces at incredible rates of speed. However, the green substance does not react terribly well when subjected to flash photography, as it breaks free out of the professor's home and begins to terrorize the neighborhood.
Professor, I think you gave it a little too much free will.
And oh boy, does the wackiness ever begin to ensue. But then Brainerd regains control over the green substance with a catcher's mitt, and ends up giving his invention the same name it was given in the original movie.
Flying rubber. Flubber? It's flying rubber. It's Flubber!
Well, forget about selling off that flubber to save your college, because first you're gonna have to pay off the several thousands of dollars worth of damages you've just incurred on your neighborhood. Also, that guy's spine was clearly broken in half. The next day we cut over to the home of the greedy billionaire who's threatening to close the college, Chester Honecker, played by Raymond J. Barry.
Wrong kid died.
Whose son, Bennett, has just been kicked off the basketball team after flunking out of Professor Brainerd's chemistry class, because those 4 years aboard the Enterprise apparently didn't teach Will Wheaton a goddamn thing about science. So Chester intervenes on his son's behalf by sending his 2 security guards over to Brainerd's house, with the 2 guards played by character actor Dream Team Clancy Brown and Ted Levine. And the guards happen to drop in on the professor just as he begins to rub some of his flubber all over his balls, by which I mean golf balls and And bowling balls, you sick-minded bastards. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the works of John Hughes, you know that the guy spent the last half of his career struggling to rekindle that Home Alone magic by inserting some bumbling crooks into his screenplays and abusing them with cartoon violence. And these two goons will prove to be no exception.
Hit the deck!
What? It's this stuff he's got, sir. It's stuff. It will give you one heck of a headache.
And thus mark the moment that audiences realize that Buffalo Bill and the Kurgan was a terrible idea for a sitcom. Now, much like in the original Absent-Minded Professor, Professor Brainerd gets the bright idea to use Flubber as a source of fuel for his vintage car, so as to help it fly into the sky, with Weebo by his side in the passenger seat to provide some dank memes.
It's all right. I saw it.
I don't think so.
I'm sure that the poor NASCAR driver whose body was horribly injured in that car crash really appreciates having his misery used as a joke by a floating yellow robot in a Disney comedy. And while Brainerd is busy stalking after his ex-fiancée so he can come up with a plan to win back her heart, it turns out that Weebo has secretly got a crush on the professor herself, thus marking the second time in Jodie Benson's career voicing a non-human character who desperately wishes to have a vagina.
I believe a woman should love a man for what he is and not for what she wants him to be.
So take a double shot for each time you see Weebo reveal her holographic human form, which she uses to lie in bed alongside the sleeping professor. Because John Hughes has apparently decided that this movie is now going to be a remake of Weird Science. After all, look who did the music. But then the professor wakes up with another bright idea for using the Flubber to try and win back Sarah.
Flubber is going to the basketball game.
So he and his robots make up some flubberized tacks, which they attach to the soles of the sneakers that are worn by the college's pathetically wimpy basketball team, so as to help them win their big championship game while Sarah and Wilson Croft watch from the sidelines.
It's not cheating, it's equalizing. You've seen the team, they should have their own telethon. Go midfield!
And while Brainerd's busy over at the basketball game, Weebo decides to get into a little mischief by unleashing Flubber out of his tank for a little dance party sequence known in the credits as the Flubber Mambo. And it's very obvious that Disney insisted on having this pointless sequence in the movie that has no impact upon the rest of the story just so that they could have something flashy for the movie's advertising. Do a little dance. Make a little flub? The fuck does that even mean? It feels like the movie suddenly stopped and switched over to showing a Jell-O commercial. And speaking of which, how the hell did this movie not have a promotional tie-in with Jell-O? And though the CGI effects in the flubberized basketball sequence are a slight improvement, they don't even come close to outdoing the Oscar-nominated special effects from the original movie. And mind you, that movie was made back in 1961.
Hey, are you blind? They're doing something illegal out here.
Look, folks, nowhere in the rule book does say anything about jumping too high.
Ah, yes, but is there anything in the rule book about dogs playing basketball?
Ain't no rule said the dog can't play basketball.
Well, great, because now we can start production on the Disney crossover that we've all been waiting for, Air Flubbud. And after watching Absent-Minded Professor and Flubber back-to-back with each other, I can say that Robin Williams does a reliably fine job at bringing his own qualities to the role of Professor Brainerd. Where Fred McMurray's portrayal was more jovial and charmingly goofy, Robin's portrayal is far more psychological than you would expect from Robin Williams starring in a wacky Disney comedy. You can tell that his character is genuinely frustrated that his scientific genius and absent-minded demeanor get in the way of him emotionally connecting with other people or getting married to the woman he loves.
Wish I understood human beings. Wish I understood women. Wish I understood emotions and passions. Wish I understood any of that.
And even though the Weebo character can be irritating at points, Jodie Benson does a great job in fleshing this character out beyond being a kid-friendly robot sidekick who's just here to sell Happy Meal toys. By the time you see Weebo facing off against the two thugs when they return to Brainerd's house to steal the Flubber for their billionaire boss, you can't help but feel a little twinge of heartbreak when she ends up getting the fridge treatment from Ted Levine.
Miserable piece of dog fuck!
And even though Weebo dies before getting a chance to tell the professor that she loves him 3000, she thankfully leaves behind a backup file for Professor Brainerd that he and Sarah can use to create a new robot assistant.
I've made a few changes. I've removed a few of my flaws and added a little of you.
Well, however this new robot turns out, she had better not have her voice replaced with a black woman. Hashtag not my Weibo, America! But all joking aside, the effective performances in this movie sadly can't make up for this remake being inferior to the original film in every other way, even if it does have a cameo from the actress who played Marcia Gay Harden's role in the original movie. While the father and son villains played by Keenan Wynn and Tommy Kirk in the original were a colorful pair of bad guys, the ones in the remake are unremarkable and bland by comparison. And although Ted Levine and Clancy Brown are totally wasted in the roles of the bodyguards, Levine does end up getting the biggest laugh of the entire movie.
Squirt gun.
Let him have it. No. Give it to him. No. Give it to him. Put it in his hand and give it to him. No.
Man, between this movie and The Mangler, it is always funny when Ted Levine gets his hand on a gun. So after Brainerd and Sarah find out that Christopher McDonald has been the evil mastermind trying to steal the Flubber for himself all along,
Wilson!
What a shock. Brainerd cleverly uses the headlights on his flying car in order to have Flubber go into full-on Roger Rabbit after drinking whiskey mode, which climaxes the film into a chaotic fight scene where we see Marcia Gay Harden rope-a-doping Shooter McGavin and impaling Mr. Krabs' eyes with her high-heeled shoes. And what better way to close out the fight than by having Flubber hop down Christopher McDonald's throat so that he can shred apart his internal organs and end up flying out of his asshole.
Cool, Mubby.
Well, looks like that's one piece of shit he won't be eating for breakfast.
No.
So even though Flubber is a harmless piece of kiddie movie product, and Robin Williams does his very best in the lead role, its CGI-enhanced comedy chaos just can't hold up to the simple, old-fashioned charm of its source material. And it's a shame that John Hughes decided to close out his legendary screenwriting career with such subpar material as this. However, I would like to see Ted Levine return to the Disney fold to co-star in another Disney remake. Perhaps he could replace the late great Rip Torn to play Zeus in the Hercules remake. Go on, threaten me. I'll shove these lightning bolts up your moldy ass, you fucking clown.
Nuts!
And on the running joke at the expense of a frightened little boy watch, there's a running joke throughout the movie involving a little boy who is nearly scared to death when Flubber breaks through his bedroom window.
It's closed, okay?
But hey, this kid deserves to have his ass spooked silly simply for his resemblance to that little bastard who played Dennis the Menace. Maybe he should have starred in that direct-to-video Dennis the Menace sequel instead of that kid from Home Alone 3. Oh god damn it, it actually was the Liar Liar kid this time. I fucked it up again! We did it again! On the enjoyableness continuum scale from Bull to Bruce, Flubber may not have been the best Robin Williams movie to come out in 1997, but it sure as hell wasn't the worst, and forms its gelatinous self into a shape of a 5 out of 10. Though it may soon be streaming on Disney+, this movie is more of a Disney minus. I'm Jesse Shade for JoBlo.com, and while I was researching material for this video, I happened to come across a YouTube channel that went by the name of Flubber Booty Bounce. And the avatar picture for this channel is a drawing of Flubber sticking out his giant ass. Now, if you'll excuse me, I will now proceed to hang this drawing up onto my wall. Magnificent.
Go, move your little Flubber booty.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.